Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Now, I was working on the banner, and then for some reason it disappeared. So I've got a convenient new way of doing this, and I should be able to do that instantly here. Let me just see if that works so you know what's happening this morning. A little bit of Feel Good Friday fun, putting the sex into sexta-feira here, or sexta-feira, I should say. Let me just see if that works. I think it, by Jove, I think I've got it. Yes, putting the sexy into sexta-feira. You're bringing together the loose ends of the week. Now, by Friday, good morning to you, Jackie, and to you, T-Duck, and to Mike and Karen and James. Nice work, James, on the 25th edition of An Old Guy in Europe, and Antonio and Coach Turner, of course, and you other lurkers. Please say hello. Come on, it's Feel Good Friday. Yeah, this morning, or actually, I should say, what was I beginning to say? What I was beginning to say was, by Friday, by sexta-feira, I've got quite a lot of images and videos that I didn't get around to using throughout the week. And when I have well, it's a fifth Friday, so there are no guests. Unless you want to join me on the screen, you're very welcome to do so. I can send you the link. But we have a lovely moment just to be together, just you and I, and then look at some of the pictures that we haven't shared and some of the video as well. And if you were paying attention during the opening sequence there, you'll have seen, and I've not said much about it so far this week, but you'll have seen that the Azores are our point of interest of the week, as is Azorian tea. There's a lovely property up in Viseu. If your eye was captured by that, a very nice place in Viseu, because that was our point of interest last week because of all the cheesiness surrounding Viseu last week. And I can send you the link for that. It's a very fine agency video there as well. And our car of the week, Jaguar, that continues, doesn't it? That runs and runs, and lots of lovely, very funny spoof videos as well. Oh, yeah, and news about what we're going to be doing for our Christmas coverage this year as well. I'll share that with you a little bit later on. Good morning to you as well, Ernesto de Nort. As well as this, have you tried this? Looks like a rock. That's actually a vegetable. It's actually a Portuguese vegetable which is shedding dirt and soil over the keyboard now. We'll talk a little bit more about that because my neighbor gave me a bag of these, some lovely satsumas, clementines, mandarins, whatever they're called. The man at the end of the street pulled up with his Algarve oranges, so we had some lovely fresh orange juice. And also my neighbor gave me a huge sweet, isn't that a beauty? A sweet potato there. But try something Portuguese today. Could be, if we get around to talking about this, is this vegetable here. But what is it called? Let me know what you think that's called, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. And we're going to show you the, talking of Boas Festas, Feliz Natal. Thank you, João Ernesto. That's not early here in Portugal. Many of the lights have been lit as they have been in Lisbon, and we'll show you that video this morning. Yep, tea, Azorian tea. Has anybody tried that? Does anybody drink that here? I'm somewhat ashamed to say that I get British tea bags like PG Tips or Yorkshire tea. Talking of which, good morning to you, Owen. Morning, all. Good to see you, Owen. And feed me, Seymour. What's that? Is that like Kiss Me Hardy? I have a lovely orange tea from the island. I love it, but it's not Yorkshire tea. We're on the same wavelength here, Owen. Do you ever get a fantasy of, instead of getting a paper bag, a bleached paper bag, porous bleached paper bag full of floor sweepings from some of the best tea plantations in the world, scorching it with hot water and then putting UHT milk in it? Do you sometimes think this should be a little bit more ceremonial than this? I should be respecting the leaves a little bit and actually, maybe working with loose leaf tea in a nice teapot and sitting down and savoring it mindfully. I wonder. I sometimes nurse those fantasies, and then I go back to just having a scorched tea bag out of my cup. But every time I do that, and I think to myself, this is not the way to respect tea. pouring boiling water in. I think in a tea ceremony, there's a lot more mindfulness, and you don't put scalding hot water onto your tea leaves. You respect them a little bit more to get the best flavor out of them. Do we have a tea aficionado in the Gumper community here? Let me know what you think about that. Tama Katan is back, not in person, but he sent me a fantastic clip, which I nearly played earlier on this week. I think it's a masterful bit of comedy, so we'll share that with you around past this morning. I think he's a great comedian. Found out that he's actually moved to Berlin. He's moved away from Lisbon. His mum still lives here. He mentions his mum in the comedy clip, and his dad. It's hilarious, and there's a fantastic turnaround in that. But he's gone off to Berlin, and he also mentions Berlin in the clip as well. So looking forward to sharing that with you. There are the Portuguese, well, they're not Portuguese awards, they're international travel awards, and Portugal's done well in them. And I was thinking, okay, well, I'll share with you the awards that Portugal has scooped at this event. But it turns out it's like 300 different categories. It's extraordinary that the whole sort of list of awards that were given out. And actually, I've lost it in my list of things I wanted to share with you. We may or may not come back to that. Portugal did very well, suffice to say, and you may not be surprised to hear that. And also, this morning, I want to very quickly share with you the Decoded Substack, because I think it's great coverage of Portugal news. Comes out every Friday. We've got a new one this morning, and they've just celebrated a year of publishing that, Portugal Decoded. So it's really good. Talk a little bit about the budget today. Nothing too serious, but you can go and look for yourself. And news of a great band who are coming to Portugal as well. That's been included in that Substack from Portugal Decoded this morning. I like tea, but Q is my favorite. And Carl, yes, well done, Antonio. Before we go there, I also want to share with you the new website as well. We might even look at the weather a little bit this morning. I have been messing about on the website and figured out loads of ways that you can help Good Morning Portugal, helping yourself, doing lovely things here in Portugal, taking care of some practicalities, as well as enjoying a few luxuries. We have quite a lot of affiliate connections with things that I think are interesting and useful here. So I'll share a few of those with you from the website, the newly appointed website, goodmorningportugal.com. And there's a paragraph of text there which conveys to you the way forward, I think, for Good Morning Portugal. And I'd love your feedback on that for 2025. Okay, so we'll see if we can squeeze that in as well. All of that this morning. If you have to go somewhere and you're thinking, I hope Carl does the tea thing first because I need to go, then just say so in the chat. It's an interactive show, isn't it? Couple of tea experts here. Oh, okay. Very good. And Pam's in as well. Good morning to you, Pam. It was lovely to show your Freddy Fiesta, I think you called your car, parked next to your dad's Renault 5. That was really good fun yesterday, sharing the Gumper, the petrol-headed Gumpers, sharing their first cars. We will do that again. There wasn't enough time yesterday. I think we left you wanting more, possibly, if you're into that sort of thing. And we want to bring the guy on who does the Golden Visa, that is an investment fund in classic cars as well. So maybe we'll do a special webinar so we can drool. Those of you who like to drool over old cars and talk about your old cars, we can do that in a special little gathering one Tuesday evening. But that was great fun yesterday. Went off with Colin after the show. Where's my phone? Took some beautiful photographs. I think these will have to wait until I've made a video. Oh, in fact, the phone battery's gone again. Just plugging that in there. Yeah, went off with Colin after the show yesterday. Great job as well, Heather, by the way. Really enjoyed talking to you, Heather, about adopting a pet here, cat or a dog here in Portugal. Other pets are available too. Yeah, Colin and I met at the Kia dealership because Colin said to me, don't forget, 11:30, we need to be at the Kia dealership in Caldas de Rainha. We are testing the EV3. Oh, I thought this will be fun. And they're very beautiful, the Kia cars. But when we got there, the gentleman at the car showroom, excuse me a minute, may have picked something up at the Kia showroom, said to Colin, I just heard there was a ripple of unease that suddenly emanated from where Colin was standing. It got us over there. The car dealer got us over there, only to tell us that it wasn't possible to do it yesterday. So Colin was understandably livid. I still took a few pictures, made a bit of video as well, and was trying to smooth things over because he is proper peed off, understandably. I mean, he'd been working on it for ages to borrow a car. And I'm going to make a little video about Colin's difficulties, challenges with customer service in the car dealerships of Portugal. It's almost becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, but he's not impressed, and he'll tell you why in a video that I will be making. And I did manage to get a few images together of the EV3, which is a very beautiful car, and incidentally is also car of the year for 2025. I'm reliably informed by it was Nuno, I think I spoke to yesterday, Nuno Pereira, about that. Really nice bloke. He was looking a little bit crestfallen after Colin complained quite vociferously about being let down and not being shown the car. Good morning to you, Olga. Olga Silva, bon dia from Greece. How's it going over there, Olga? How lovely. Can we have a picture? Got a lovely postcard sent in from James, who, of course, is celebrating a special 25th episode of An Old Guy in Europe. If you've not seen it yet, this is the perfect chance to check it out because it's a compilation of the first 24 videos. If you'd like a little glimpse into what he's up to, you can do that by going over to the YouTube channel An Old Guy in Europe. And I'd be glad of the subscription as well over there. And you sent me a beautiful image yesterday, which I've turned into one of these GMP postcards, and let me bring it onto the screen for you now. You may have seen this before. It is a beautiful image, and I think James, the wonderful thing about it is one of those superb pictures that was just like, get your phone out of your pocket or your camera, take the picture, no filter, and ended up with this absolute beauty here, which joins the earlier postcards that we made this week. Really loving those. And something else occurred to me. One of the affiliate links we've got is with TouchNote. Now, Peter sent in a picture, João Denort sent in a picture. There's James's Surfs Up by James H. Good morning, Portugal postcard there. Isn't that beautiful? Surfs up. The guy's pointing up. The surfer is up on his plinth, and it's reminding James a lot of Santa Cruz. And I sent James the link to TouchNote and a not an image exactly, but some graphics to go on the back of that. So if you send me one of those, I can do that for you. Then I can send you the camera-ready artwork, as we used to call it back in the day. You'll be able to send that off to a print-on-demand company and actually send your postcard to friends or family around the world. You don't have to send it. The beautiful thing about TouchNote, and I really love it, I mean, you can do this with any of your own photographs, is you can turn them into postcards and greetings cards, and they do the postage. So you don't have to worry about getting the right postage here in Portugal. Although that's a really good opportunity to go and learn some Portuguese and learn a bit more about the culture in a post office, of course. But TouchNote take care of it. They'll send it anywhere in the world. They'll charge you. And I think if you use my link on the website, which I'll show you a little bit later on, you get 50% off your first go. But it's a lovely thing to be able to do. If you've got the artwork, which I've created for James there, you can upload that to TouchNote and they'll send it off anywhere around the world. And they'll just charge you for the privilege of doing so, but you won't have to do anything except to upload your artwork and maybe type in a message on the back of your postcard. So thanks, James, for that one. That's an absolute beauty. Who else has shown up since we've been on? Oh, Pam was saying that you watched a bit of it last night. Everyone else's cars look very fancy. Yeah, well, they're kind of sort of petrol-headed blokes, aren't they? Oh, and talking of which, in March, we will go to Beniccar together. We'll have a meetup over at Beniccar. That's another way you can help the Good Morning Portugal show. If you buy your car, if you get some help from Colin and buy your car from Beniccar, we've got a nice relationship going on with them as well. And come along. It's like no car showroom I have ever been to. And I'm not that fussed about cars. I've got a very old Skoda myself. I went from a very old Volkswagen K70. Yes, say it again, the Wankel engine in the Volkswagen K70. It was old when I got it, and I'm still driving old cars. And I love our old car, which my daughter says, it smells of love in here, Dad. Dogs, old French fries, that kind of essential oil aroma in our car, which we love. But yeah, so mine's not fancy, Pam. But yeah, those other fellas, they love talking about their cars, and they did have some fancy motors, didn't they? You also say, Pam, I took an especially nice photo of the river in Alcobaça. I'll send it to you. Thanks, Pam. I will make sure. Oh, let's make you a postcard of that one as well. I think this little idea's got legs, isn't it? So thank you very much. This is the Rio Alcoa, I'm guessing, from where Alcobaça gets its name. Let's have a look at your picture here. And I will make sure that gets turned into a postcard too. Lots of funny images to share with you. Lovely videos to share with you as well. We'll go to Lisbon in just a moment. Oh, I know where that is. That's not far from the Green Park, isn't it? And that lovely windy river there. That's very kind of you. Very thoughtful. Thanks, Pam. Send those in to 913-590-303. Much appreciated. Before we play the video, Great news to share with you from the Algarve, by the way. And Antonio's getting a lot of love, and quite rightly so, in the chat this morning. Yeah, thank you, Paolo, for sharing this. Our mate Paolo Fanassi, the mayor, the would-be mayor. Now, I found out last night on the Dream Team session, we've got a presidential election in January of 26. So Marcelo will give way to somebody else. We thought it was next year, and then Andrea checked from Raisin Pelicano. It's actually January. And then later on next year, the election action is the local election. So if you're a resident, you can vote in those. You have to get registered, but you can't vote in the general election until you become a citizen. But as a resident, which many of you are or are becoming, you can vote in the local elections and have a say in local government. That'll be my neighbor, who's the president of San Martino de Porto. He's got a year to go, pretty much, to prove himself. I guess he could get re-elected, but that's what's happening. Local elections next year, and then early in 26, we'll have a new president here in Portugal. Yes, back to the Algarve then, and I wonder if Paulo Fanassi will become president of Albufeira down there. He sent me this, or he sent this in. He posted it on his own timeline, and I grabbed it for GMPT, one of our Facebook groups. Look, remarkable and rare sighting. As the mermaid pods make their way south for winter, this one separated from the group and gathering strength before returning to the water. Beautiful picture. That's Albufeira right there. Oh, and I didn't go to Antonio's comments. We'll bring you the Lisbon lights in just a moment. Morning to you, Hugh. Good to see you. Encrojado, you were drinking mindfully yesterday. A feast for all the senses, isn't it? When you get some nice booze in a glass, you can look at it, you can hear it fizz maybe, or you can hear the pop of the cork. So nice for drawing you into the reality of the sensory moment. Carl, and there have been a few comments about the vegetable here. A little shop of horrors, says James, for that veggie. Well, you said something as well, John, here, didn't you? Looks like an X-sized brain from a cadaver. Yes, we can riff on that theme, because I saw a very interesting thing for sale here in the Silver Coast, on the Silver Coast, which connected to another thing that the wonderful Zé Mario posted up on GMP TV. We'll come back to that. But Antonio says of this, look, that looks like a juju. English is the chayot or sikyosh. And even though that might be the English, we don't really talk much about these. I've never seen one of these in the UK. Do you get these in the US? Previously placed in the obsolete genus of the Sechium, obviously, also known as a Christophine or Christophine, a Merliton, and a Choco. Choco and Shushu are among the easiest names to remember. I remember seeing it for the first time when I lived in Anadia, and there were several of them hanging scrotum-like from a vine. That's how they grow, which is really not saying much for or encouraging anyone to want to eat this, but I will give a serving suggestion for it. And no, not to put it straight in the bin, you rascals. Who said that? Stop it. Right, okay, let's go to Lisbon now and look at their lighting up. This is happening all over Portugal at the moment. Lights are being lit. We're having hours in San Martino de Porto tomorrow evening, and there's a Christmas fair happening up the road in Sodomong. It is beginning to feel a lot like Christmas here in Portugal. The Dream Team panel, the question I asked them last night, well, what were their favorite places to see the lights? And some of them said Lisbon. I think Gilda said Lisbon. She also said Pedro's house is the best place to go at Christmas. Who said Guimarães, go to Guimarães, go to Águeda. Andrea's from Águeda. She says you must go there. And of course, we've got lovely pictures from, we may be able to squeeze those in. Andy has got some great pictures from the Águeda Santa. Not inflatable, as I incorrectly said on the show here. He is properly made. He's not blown up with air constantly. He is erected, feet first, big belly, then the top part, and then 250,000 lights. And I jokingly said yesterday, we must be getting a Christmas card from China this year, having put 250,000 lights into one Santa in Águeda, let alone, Nuno gave the stats on the millions of lights. 3 million, did he say last night? Was anyone watching the Dream Team? Many, many lights here in Lisbon, as you're about to see now.
3, 1, 3, 2, 1,
an episode that shoots, it's a wish, a bunny and Ben. Dolls that talk, we'll go for a walk as a boy, Chef Danny and Jen. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Amazing. Thank you, James, for being here this morning as well. Other James Campbell's in Bon Dia says, James, the Lisbon lights this year are amazing. They've really gone out. This is a joke, James. They've really gone out. Hopefully not. And yes, Alcobaça spent 99,000 euros on the lights this year. What? We have an ice rink with real ice. Yes, that's where your taxes go. So if you ever feel a bit grumpy about all the tax you're paying in Portugal, it's gone to a good cause, good reason. We have Desfile de Natal on Sunday when all the local schools and organizations parade through town dressed up. It's lovely. Oh, fantastic. So if you're on the Silver Coast, you could be in São Martinho de Porto on Saturday night and go to Alcobaça on Sunday. Be prepared, wrap up well, and stay out late. You can't expect to go to these things at 7 in the evening, quickly have a look at the lights and then go home or grab a fatura or something like that. No, it is, I think it's 2 or 3 hours worth, sometimes longer. So be prepared for that. Take a sleeping bag, a flask, distress flares, Kendall mint cake, all those sorts of things, foil blankets. We usually go to Lisbon to look at the lights in December. How lovely. Yeah. Well, I was showing Mrs. M before the show. Look at what they've got in Lisbon. Oh, we've got to go. At least we've got to drive through and have a look. So it does look fantastic. James, we did show the Braga. Thanks to João de Norte, we had the Braga. What's it called? I forget. Antonio, please help me. The nativity scenes have got a special name. Hate it when that happens. It slipped my mind. But that's a very tricky question. Where is the best nativity scene? The Braga retail park seems to have a very good one. And I will put the 2 videos that John sent me together. I'll stitch them together and stick them up on the YouTube channel. And you can be the judge of that yourself, James. But they're happening all over the country. You know, even in the smallest village. Presepio, there you go. Thank you very much. I'd never have guessed, remembered that. I don't think that wasn't even on the tip of my tongue. Presepio, thank you very much. And Hugh simply says Visio, of course. But even the smallest village will have a little scene, perhaps on its roundabout or next to the church of a nativity scene. It's really important in Portugal. And 3 o'clock for the filing, the desfile, the filing through town of the youngsters. Maybe they won't have lanterns, will they? I suppose at 3 in the afternoon, but that's going to be real pretty in Alcobaça this Sunday. And yes, help James with that. Send me any pictures you've got of nativity scenes. We won't be doing lighting up Christmas this year. I'm certainly not against sharing any video you send me on 913-590-303. Any video you've got of nativity scenes and lighting up, I will gladly share that. But we're not going to be putting it on our homepage. On our homepage this year, and we'll go to the new homepage after we've had a giggle with Tama in about 5 minutes. The Advent calendar this year will be Christmas memes. T-Duck and I have already been exchanging a few of those. Fantastic they are as well. The whole, have we reached peak meme yet, do we think, or is there a way to go? What comes after memes? What's post meme in our culture? But at the moment we certainly seem to be enjoying a meme or two, don't we? And some more than others, it has to be said. And the Christmas memes this year, there were enough coming through that I thought, okay, well, it's a great thing to have as an Advent calendar this year. So thanks, T-Duck, for your help on that. You need a Presepio in your live stream background. That's a great idea. I think I can run a video in the background. Shall I try that now? I wonder. I can do that, I think. I don't know if I should try that or not. Let me see. I think there is background video on this. Can you add video? I wonder if I could pop the that Lisbon thing in the background there. Maybe I should. I'm in that situation where like buttons aren't toys, Carl. And I'm thinking, I would like to try that right now and see what happens. What's the worst thing that can happen? Well, the show could crash and end. So that's a really good reason probably not to try that right now. But a great idea, James. And yes, I think I will do that. If you've got, I don't know, we probably need 30 seconds of video, Presepios or lighting, or a little walk through your high street with all the lights. Gratefully received. 913-590-303. I just nerd snipped you. Is that what that's called? Where you suggest something to someone technologically and they get excited about it? Sounds too much like an electronic vasectomy to me, a nerd snip. I wonder. And Pete's here. I can't possibly read that out. Right. And I have to say, I haven't seen that before, which reminds me, I do need to get the expleet button ready for when Tama's on. So let me just get that ready. And if you can imagine that whilst you're reading Pete's rather vulgar contribution this morning, when you get to this bit, I do like a shepherd having in a nativity scene. Disgusting, Peter. Nice barnet there, Carl. Every day getting close to combing it over. What do you mean getting? When I'm in the hairdresser's chair, there's this lovely kind of moment where I know what she's thinking. She knows what I'm thinking, and she's gently teasing each precious hair into as she's cutting and placing it, stopping short of recommending a hair transplant, which is what one lady did in a hairdresser's once, and stopping short of getting the powdered hair out to put on, like in that scene from Shallow Hal. But carefully, it's teamwork makes the dream work. On my bonds here, thanks. A bit of Cockney rhyming slang there. If you don't know what on earth Pete's talking about, and we're often in that condition, let's be fair, Pete. Barnet Fair. Do we need a Cockney rhyming slang introductory session here? A little seminar, possibly. Maybe we do. Dustbin lid, trouble and strife, up with the apples and pears. Barnet Fair there, meaning hair. Good morning to you, Gabby. Maybe see you this evening for the wonderful wine pairing. This evening at the Storytellers, and I'm really looking forward to that. Last one was fabulous. I'm sure tonight's will be no exception to the wonderful evenings they put on there. And of course, we'll be broadcasting live from the Storytellers. I think it's next Wednesday, but it'd be the first of our live from the Storytellers. We'll be having a nice breakfast over there and broadcasting live. Happy Friday from Insurance. Good morning to you. With parades, Christmas lights and wine tastings this weekend is the perfect time to get into the holiday spirit. Enjoy. Fabulous. Thank you very much. And Lisbon usually exhibits several old Presepios during this season as well, not just the main lights. Yes, cheers to you. Ciao, ciao. Chin, chin, Gabby. Fantastic. Right, and let's go to Tamakatan now. And I've been thinking for a while now, with the craziness in the world, it's down to the musicians, is it not, and the comedians, the artists, to start making sense of things. And I think he does this. I think he does this masterfully. I've been a big fan of Tamas. He's been on the show. He was in Lisbon, living in Lisbon. He's gone to Berlin, which he mentions in this clip here. And he actually learnt Portuguese so he could do a stand-up set in Portuguese. What a legend. We've lost him to Berlin. His mum still lives here. Talks about his mum in this clip. What do you make of this?
Have you guys ever been bullied by someone so badly that you hated everyone with his name? That's why I hate guys named Dad. A lot of my people are confused by my parents' relationship. They're like, wow, you got a Muslim dad and a Jewish mom. And I'm like, yes, sir. They're like, how did a Muslim man convince a Jewish woman to fall in love with him? I go, my dad was no regular Muslim man. My dad was in an Arab rock band. They traveled all around the Middle East throwing rocks at women. Don't get weird, don't get weird, don't get weird. It's a comedy show, it's a comedy show.
Terrible.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said that's terrible.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That's what I was going for, that's what I was going for. Because here's the thing, I'm not doing it to be terrible, right? Like sometimes when I see a dog that obeys too much, it makes me sad. And sometimes when I see a cat that bites its owner, it makes me happy. Right? Because it means the cat has retained its wildness. And that's what I love about Berlin. Berlin has retained its wildness. Sure, there's an Amazon here, but we tag the shit out of it. And we vandalize it. Berlin is a cat. And I'm not up here to offend you. I'm just here to remind you that you're still wild too. You can say some terrible things every once in a while. As long as your energy's friendly, it's no big deal. Right? No big deal.
There you go. How about that? Keep your I was just on time there. Keep your energy friendly. Isn't that an amazing thing to share there? And you're just thinking, oh dear, yeah, I understand that heckle, but I think he deals with that masterfully. Morning to you, Paul. Bon dia from Pedrogo Pequeno this morning. How are you? Bon fin de semana to you. Yes, if you or anyone else has weekend plans, if you're putting the sexy into Sexta-feira this weekend, let us know in the chat or send pictures to 913. I don't want too many sexy pictures on 913. But then again, it's 913-590-303. Before we take a look at our own website, let's go to that of Portugal Decoded. Great band news. Sexto, what is that? I wonder. James, you're being very mysterious this morning. James C, not James H this morning. Let's have a look then at Portugal Decoded for this week. Yes, as I said, a year of producing these, a really good service to us. The basic idea is that it's a summary of Portuguese news in the English language, very, very thoughtfully and is the word assiduously, comprehensively, fastidiously put together, very informative, very useful, and as in a typical old-fashioned news style, a bit of light-heartedness to go with the more chunky, chewy news. Good morning and welcome to Portugal Decoded. Today, after months of doubt and negotiations, lawmakers are set to approve the 2025 state budget. Here's what you need to know about the final version. Now, I'm not going to steal the thunder of Portugal Decoded. You need to subscribe to this yourself if you want this sort of information, and I'll put the link for that into the chat now. But just a little bit of a summary to whet your appetite. The graphics are always fab as well, talking about the various aspects of the budget there: politics, society, economics, culture, and sports. There's a decoder. Then there's, if you want to learn more about Portuguese politics, that's the makeup of the parliament there. Right there. And Andrea was telling me last night about some proposed law about being able to build. You'd be interested in this possibly, Paul. You're probably all over it already. But the ability to build on rustic land, which and the power or the decisions about that will be devolved to the camera level. So a nice bit of local government power there, possibly, which will be interpreted in different ways because that's how it happens. The central government will come up with the law, very likely. And this is all about creating better social and affordable housing here in Portugal. So they're delivering on that promise. And that the power about that will be a freedom devolved to cameras to be able to build more quickly and more easily in rustic areas. So there you go. 241 amendments approved to the original proposal of the budget. That's quite a lot of work they've been doing there. Parties with the most amendments submitted. Chega shaking the tree there, and the communists as well, interestingly, isn't it? Far left and far right shaking that tree, as you would expect. Isn't that how democracy and a decent parliament would work? That's fantastic. Good to know. That goes into the key amendments that were adopted and rejected. So a great bit of reporting. And then tips of the week. Who doesn't like a tip of the week, especially on Sexta-feira? Towards Infinity, Vista Alegre pottery ceramics. Aren't they fabulous there? Porto's Christmas market also. The Ponta do Sol and Calheta in Madeira. We're not going to Madeira this morning. We're going to the Açores, and we're going to talk a little bit about their tea as well. And this band news. Do you like Nouvelle Vague? I do. The French band, famous for covering indie punk goth tracks from the 1970s and the 80s, bossa nova style. If you haven't checked them out, please do. They're great. He's playing 7 concerts in Portugal. That's brilliant news. And it will start, I believe, in Figueira da Foz, in Lisbon, obviously, and touring all over the country, including Ponta Delgada Ponta Delgada, yes, in the Açores there. Great work, French band. Nouvelle Vague there, which I think means new wave, does it not? In a similar cover version style, I discovered Postmodern Jukebox last night as well, which I really enjoyed. Their cover of Careless Whisper is superb. They do some great covers as well. Postmodern Jukebox and Nouvelle Vague, I would recommend to you. That is Portugal Decoded there. Check it out. And the link for doing so is on your screen now. There you go. Thank you very much to Portugal Decoded there. Pete, are you behaving yourself now? Christmas is great in Portugal, aside from the dinner, boiled cabbage, spuds, and weaponized salted cod. That is a crime against its increase. You just haven't had it right yet, basically. Don't forget the sweets like the boloré. Yes, the rabanadas, the lamprey, the ovos. Is that lamprey eggs or eggs of... The lamprey de ovos. Okay, I need to know more about that. And the chance of injuring yourself on a no, that's not allowed because of the EU now. Health and safety, mate. You're mad. Now that definitely gets my approval. Yes. If you really want to injure yourself, let's have a lead toy. Should we have a lead soldier? Let's bring that back. Kids don't know they're born, do they? Squire of the Shires also in this morning with a Bondi as well. Good morning to you. Have a great day in Tondela. Olga, have a great day in Greece. Let us now go to the Açores. And a lovely video because it's our Portuguese point of interest this week. They're saying here, the Açores has never seen before. Oh my word, aren't we lucky to have the Açores and Madeira as part of Portugal? Very interesting to note as well, when we were talking with the doc about the coup of the 25th of November 75, that the Americans at the time were very interested in their interest in the Azores as a strategic place. We're keeping an eye on Portugal, wondering what was going to happen as a result of the Carnation Revolution, and maintaining an interest, which I believe they do to this day, in the Azores. Now, let's stay with the Azores and go to Goriana tea, which sounds, as Peter is about to point out, sounds a bit too much like gonorrhea tea, doesn't it? Which I'm sure it's been called from time to time as well, with a very poor pronunciation. This is our Portuguese treat of the week. Have you tried it? Now, Owen's suggesting the orange tea, which you have in your possession there. What's it like? Do you create it, brew it respectfully with a teapot? I'm guessing you do. We do abuse tea, us Brits, don't we? With the awful tea bag invention. No, Peter, don't go there. And this, I don't think you can pour scalding hot boiling water on Goriana tea. You've really got to do this mindfully. There's all kind of herbal teas there as well. But I think their speciality is probably the black Azorean tea rather than the green tea. Look at those lovely tea caddies. Aren't they fabulous? Yeah, look, a nice cup of black tea there. And a tea leaf looks a little bit like, I was going to say like a basil leaf, but it's a bit more waxy, isn't it? And a bit tougher and hardy. It's got to be, if it's going to be facing the weather conditions and the wind and the rain there, in that lovely picture that you can see there in the Açores. Welcome to Goriana then. They've been making tea here, growing tea, making tea products since 1883, the oldest tea plantation in Europe. You see, the people, the phrase, all the tea in China, we also have it here in Europe. The conditions are right in the Açores, and they've been cultivating this wonderful product since 1883, maintaining the original traditions of the East and the ancestral qualities passed down through 5 family generations. We invite you to get to know us better through our website, and we hope you visit us while you're on the island of San Miguel. So, of the Azorean Islands, how many islands are there in the Azores? Quick quiz for you this morning. Of those islands, San Miguel is where you'll find this factory. And I watched a really great documentary about this place, a German documentary, I think, or a German filmmaker who went there to see how tea is made or created in a very special way. They're picked and packed, dried and processed for your tasting and sipping pleasure there. Look, a bergamot tea. I guess that's on its way to becoming an Earl Grey there. Do like those tea caddies a great deal, so you can get black and green tea, as we can see there. And of course, they've gone into the well-being market as well, with tea for brain health and all sorts of innovations there. But what a fabulous landscape. Absolutely loving that. Well done, Goriana. Search that. Oh, actually, I'll put that for you into the chat so that you can see that for yourself. Absolutely wonderful Portuguese treat of the week. Talking of Portuguese treats, try something Portuguese this weekend perhaps, and the wizened chouchou here, which I'm going to give a serving suggestion for, and no, not to throw it straight in the bin. Chop it up on a people say this, don't they, about certain vegetables? Chop it up on a board, add oil so it slips more easily in as you slide it into the waste disposal unit. Let's play this and come back and tell you more. Right, the chouchou, very kindly given to me by my neighbor. Great big bag of clementines, which the kids are absolutely loving. Great source of vitamin C, of course, especially good at this time of year. A massive sweet potato. Love these. When you peel them, you sometimes get that lovely purple interior, don't you? Remove the skin to reveal a purple interior. Enough of that. And the chouchou here. What I would do with this, if you fancy it, I would describe this, and there's still dirt and soil falling off this one here onto my keyboard, which I'm sure will cause problems in a few months' time. Peel this, and it does need to be peeled, and I would call this the love child of the marrow and the potato. And then you can steam it or boil it and then mash it up and add some butter, salt and pepper, maybe a bit of olive oil as well. And that makes for a nice starch. If you're into the carbs and the starches from time to time, that is a good one that you're unlikely to have tried unless you are familiar with Portuguese culture growing up. I'm sure these are available in other parts of the world, but I'd never seen that until I came here to Portugal. Any other recipes for the chouchou? Do let me know. Okay, well, we've got more. Oh, thanks for the tea special. My pleasure. They care for the tea at the Storytellers as well, don't they? They've got a fine range of teas and that lovely. I don't know. I can't remember what the equivalent is of a sommelier for tea, but there's that lovely gent who I wrote about in the Portugal Resident, who absolutely is passionate and loves tea, and he supplies the teas there, and it's done properly, and you can have a lovely kind of mid-afternoon cream tea there at the Storytellers looking out over the sea. So it's a very special thing, isn't it? And we've got very lazy. Today's episode was sponsored by the Association of Chouchou Growers. Not really, James, but I'd be happy if they wanted to. Yeah, talking of sponsorships and affiliate links, we will have a look at the new website in just a moment. However, it's not orange tea, it's orange pico, which is a delicious variety of black tea. So you've got that, have you? How do you process it? How do you treat it? 9 islands. Did you get that right? 9 islands in the Azores there. And there was something else that James said. James and Pete, very chatty this morning. I first read this as Moshgartland. I'm thinking, okay, well, I've not heard of that Christmas pleasure park, Moskatland, and a banana is my favorite thing. It's a Braga tradition. I think that's moscatel and a banana, as Pete is quite rightly pointing out here. Do you flambe that? Do you mind me asking you if you flambe your banana, James? I know it's rather a personal question, but come on, it is Christmas. I think roughly at the same time, both banana and moscatel, a bit like ginger in the chocolate cup. Now, that's a good reason to go and look at the procession in Alcobaça on Sunday at 3 o'clock. You can have some of that ginger in a chocolate cup. The very thought of it is making me salivate now, and will always remind me of the time I gave it to Mrs. M to sip. Do you want to try this? And she just downed the whole thing and then munched on the chocolate cup. Not a euphemism. Right, Carl, we WhatsApp you a Lampreia de Ovos image link. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that. The mystery of that is going to be solved right now. Oh my word, that has to be shared on the screen. That is extraordinary. Thank you very much for that. Let's get rid of Goriana tea for a moment and have a look at this. Wonderful. So basically, it is fish and confectionery coming together, which doesn't sound entirely appetizing, does it? But wait till you see this. That's fabulous. Thank you very much for that. I need to zoom in a little bit as well. So what we've got there, basically is confectionery. It is a dessert, isn't it? And the important thing, I suppose, is it's in the shape of a lamprey. Glacé cherries for eyes, absolutely lovely. Candied fruit for a tongue, possibly. And some nata, piped nata, and some drizzled caramel, possibly. And that grated sweet stuff. It's not cheese. I'm really hoping that is not grated cheese there. How would you describe the body of that, Antonio? Can you tell us a little bit more about that? But I just have to marvel looking at that on the screen right there. That's extraordinary. Thank you very much for that, Antonio. Yes, mate, Portugal, you continue to surprise and amaze us. The website looks... Oh, thanks, Simply Live, Mel. Mel, I didn't see... Sorry, were you going to join me this morning? I'm hoping you will join us and chat about what you do at Simply Live. I didn't get back to my... I'm not familiar so much with SMS. I sometimes miss SMS. Everything seems to be over on WhatsApp these days. Do forgive me if you're going to join me this morning. It's not too late if you want to. You could signal as such in the chat if you want to, and I can send you the link. Looks like Day of the Dead, but as a dish. Stop it. Antonio, the yellow is just egg yolk. A lot of egg yolk. Wow. And that's after you've had bacalhau, possibly turkey, and some percebish. Is that another thing that you might have at Christmas time? You got a big old Christmas dinner, and then that comes out at the end of it. The yellow is the ovo. Thank you very much. Of course it is. Thank you very much for that, Antonio. You're too kind. I'm definitely going to be looking further into that. Thank you also for that lovely picture of the vintage cars, Antonio. That will find its way onto a postcard as well, I think. Looks like a fabulous picture. There's a small shop in Braga that serves moscatel and banana. Almost rhymes that. as its speciality. There once was a shop in Braga that served moscatel and banana. Can you please complete the limerick for me this morning? That'll be great fun. Plenty of calories right there. Yes, I think so. But don't worry about that. It's Christmas. Right, excellent. Thank you for your kind words there. Let's go over to the website. And while we're there, actually, we'll take a look at the weather for this coming weekend. So let me just present to you the new Good Morning Portugal website. It's got a familiar look to it, but I've added loads of these options here whereby you can help yourself and help us at the same time. Value for value, value for time, value for money, value for value. We're interested in all sorts of ways of supporting each other. I like to help you. And if you want to help us keep the train on the track and feed the children this Christmas. Where's my violin? Please think about supporting the Good Morning Portugal show in a number of ways that I'm about to share with you here. This is like the commercial break, as well as being sponsored by the Shushu Growers Association of Portugal. Here's a Good Morning Portugal message as well. Go through these briefly. Main thing to share with you, and the reason why I started fertiling up the website is ahead of the new year, slightly changing our mission for the new year. You're among the first to hear about this. So it tells you there that we moved to Portugal in 2017, and I started the Good Morning Portugal show as a podcast soon after, and then started doing a radio show in about, I think that would have been 2018, and then was doing a little bit of a podcast, learning a bit of Portuguese. That hasn't gone terribly well, but that was into 2019. And then something happened in the world, didn't it, in 2020? And I thought a daily live stream for English language speakers might be a useful lifeline, which proved to be true. And we haven't stopped ever since. It was like when Mrs. M moved in with me one weekend and never went home. That was in the week that we met, funnily enough. That was 2010 or 2011? Anyway, yeah, I still ask her parents to come and get her sometimes, but no, she moved in and never left. A bit like the Good Morning Portugal show, we started live streaming and we haven't stopped basically since 2020. So we're going into our 5th year next year, which is awesome. Thank you to everybody who's made that possible. And that is most of you basically certainly tuned in this morning. You late shift folks, if you want to consider joining this illustrious bunch of gumpers, here are a number of ways you can help. Before I share those, I want to say, what began as a state of emergency focal point, which is, of course, what we endeavored to be in 2020, we evolved into a how-to show for would-be migrants into Portugal. And 2025, we will evolve and transform again into a breakfast show, which, of course, we are anyway, focused mainly on the joys of living in Portugal. I think this is going to be quite important in 2025. And actually, for the next 5 years, going to 2030, these are going to be very interesting times for humanity, I would wager. And we'll be looking at the lighter side of life in general. You might have seen us leaning into that gradually anyway at this end of the year, except when we get serious and forget. Hey, T-Duck. And so our intention is to put a smile on the viewers and listeners' faces wherever you live in the world. So it's not just about Portugal. We're in Portugal. We love Portugal. Many of our listeners and friends are here in Portugal. But we want to broaden our appeal as a breakfast show to anyone around the world who wants to put a smile on their face first thing in the morning or whenever they listen to the show and the podcast. So please join us. If you like what we do and would like to help us grow and prosper, please have a look at some of the ways you can support us and get some value yourself. So definitely watch the show. You can join the GMP VIP community. And that is a door to a whole new world there. And that's our professional and social network, basically, where we've got a PMDM system. We've got loads of resources. If you're a member of that wonderful club, maybe you want to say something in the chat. Antonio is there. He gives us a Portuguese saying of the day every day. He works really hard behind the scenes over there. So thank you, Antonio, again for that. Of course, we're sponsored by Haddad de Mayo, supported by Haddad de Mayo, and I work with Expats Portugal. Watch the weekly webinars. Check out Haddad de Mayo. Bobby would be really delighted if you'd buy one of his gaffs as well. We work with Spartan FX if you need to do some currency exchange. Open up a free account with them. That was last night's webinar, by the way, with Sarah, and that will be available on the Expats Portugal channel at about 6 o'clock on Sunday night. You can just do a straightforward donation, buy a coffee, which is the way of supporting many influencers, live streamers, etc. You can hire me. There's Hugh, who was here earlier this morning. I'm available for hire in a number of capacities. Listen to the podcast, use our booking.com link, add something to the events and point of interest map. All sorts of ways of getting involved. Needn't cost you anything. And if you feel like being generous, you can do that as well. Read my weekly column. Find yourself a guide, having a tour in Portugal, got an affiliate link with them. Learn Portuguese with Maria and Vitor. They're going to be stepping up the pressure there. Work with Heather, stay at the Storytellers. All sorts of links here. Get a Revolut card, get a Wise card. Come to our party in February. Start a school community. That's a somewhat strange one there. And send a touch note postcard, which I was talking about. And something that's not on there yet is hire a car with Benecar, or buy a car from Benecar, all sorts of ways. So these are things that we all do in our daily lives, right? And you can listen to the podcast direct from the website there. That's goodmorningportugal.com. But all sorts of things you might do in your daily life. And if you can help us out by helping yourself in that way, we'd be most grateful. What's the matter, Chris? Why are you sad? I wonder there. Thank you very much for being here this morning, having a bit of fun on this morning. Still got 5 minutes to go. Actually, I'm not climaxing just yet, everybody. There is something distinctly fishy about that dessert. In Tudor times, the Brits even made a sweet fish dessert. Not a fan. Paul the Fordeus there. That happened a little bit earlier on. That was the first. Oh, that was All Saints Day, wasn't it? At the beginning of November there. Sorry, says Simply Live Mel. Just on my way out the door, but love to chat soon. Yeah, we'll get you on the show eventually. Carl, I just sent you a chart of the various parts of the tea leaf with the names given to the different grades of black tea. I think we need to have a look at that as we continue our education around tea this morning, specifically Portuguese tea. This is a more general idea of how we might respect the tea leaf a bit more. And of course, a few events coming from the Bairrada district, thanks to Andy, and the erection of a snowman, which he has got documentary evidence for. Thanks, Mike and Karen there. Website looks great. Much appreciated. Mirthful Monday. Like it. There you go. James has got the idea there. And have a great weekend, everyone. Time to start shopping. What, on the website? On the website there, or are you heading out for your Christmas shopping? You can leave it. Who was it who said that? I think it might have been Jill. That most people in Portugal do their Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve or on Boxing Day if they're not seeing the people actually on Christmas Day. It's got ages yet. Don't worry about that, Mike. Just, take it easy. Have another coffee or a cup of tea this morning. Let's have a look at actually, let me just get my list because there was a hell of a lot I wanted to share with you. We're not going to get around to those awards and that massive list. Maybe we'll carry that forward to next week. I think we've pretty much done everything apart from the events I want to share with you and the snowman erection. Oh, and John's lovely tea graphic here. Let's have a look then. These are the parts of the tea leaf. Okay. Let me just move your comment for a moment there, Antonio. So PG Tips must get its name from the A-grade tips and buds that are the best part of the tea leaf by the look of it at the top. Then you've got the orange Pico, B and C grades at the top. The Souchong, a name you might be familiar with if you like the Lapsang Souchong, the Pico Souchong. It's like bacalhau, because the bacalhau, of course, has different cuts to it of the various parts of the cod body, and people have their different preferences of texture, thickness, thinness, and so on. So not unlike that with the RT grading system for tea leaves. Thank you very much. Learn something every day. Every day's a school day. So shopping, both heading to the Forum in Coimbra. Oh, one of my favorites in Portugal. Good choice. Good pick there. You can have a lunch, can't you? And look out over that wonderful vista, like sitting in a massive greenhouse while you're having your lunch there, taking a bit of a break from the shopping. Right, here we are. Here's Andy's snowman pictures. That's how have we got a sense of scale there. In the foreground you're seeing calçadas and paving stones, so you get an idea of how big the snowman is right there. Oh, and there is a final picture of the fam there, which I must include as well. There we go. Those are the boots. They're not made for walking. They're made for anchoring down this huge snowman. I think the biggest in the world, they claim. Agada, there's the family there. That's what he looks like when he's fully erected. The snowman I'm talking about, not Andy. Quite extraordinary. 250,000 lights in that bad boy right there. Quite amazing. And there's another part of the street lighting, and Andy and family there having a great time at Christmas in Agadir. That'll be Agadir, everybody. Let's move on to some of Andy's picks and suggestions. Oh, I'm gonna squeeze in a quick Cork video for you as well. That's sent to me by Sarah Davey of Spartan FX. It was great last night, 7:30 on the webinar, published this coming Sunday at 6. Right, we've got a free guided walk or run at Masiera de Alcabasa, Agadir. That is a granite trail graded there, and the Applewood of the Alcabasa. Oh, that must be a translation there. Very good. A small circular walk. That looks like a freebie right there, starting at 9 in the morning. Another guided walk there. This time guided rather than running or speed walking. Free guided walk through the picturesque Ventosa de Bairro. 10K, walk through nature, free, but you need to register for that because you're probably going to get a T-shirt. There it is. Christmas events in Oliveira de Bairro as well, the Natal neighborhood. There's one of the Principios we'll be talking about. That'll be great fun. Box cart racing included in that. So a lot of these Christmas fairs will have a little bit of a local twist as well as a traditional Christmas stuff. Box cart racing for that one by the sound of it. And finally then, festival and king cake. Massive king cake. In Samel there, Bayrada. Get yourselves along to this super event in the lovely village of Samel, where you will be where there will be very well attended and highly coveted Bolloré cake. There you go. So going back to the Bolloré that was mentioned, with or without lead soldier, you can try some Bolloré cake there. Is it one of the biggest ones in the country? Is that their angle on Christmas there? Thank you very much, Andy. Find more of these on the Gumper map. Oh, this came up as well. Only used one time. A pair of coffins for sale in Caldash. Selling these to casuals. I don't know why they're called casuals. I guess they look quite casual. They're second-hand. They've only been used once. They're in good condition, and they will go to the best offer there. That is so bizarre, isn't it? 2 caskets there. And this came up as well. That was grave harvesting, which I thought was connected in some way. Just a typo, grape harvesting. But those would be interesting graves to be in, wouldn't they? Covered in grapes. Some people would like to go out that way. Staying with the wine theme, and I did say I'd share the weather with you, so I'll put the weather up. I'll put the weather link into the chat as we go this morning into our weekend and have a bon fin semana. Just finally then, sent to me by Sarah, another little video that I meant to share with you this week. We'll do it this morning. From Business Insider, the Portuguese cork industry reached an all-time sales high in 2023. Figures just in, I'm guessing, of 1.3 billion. Well done, Portugal, on that. And here's a little bit of information on cork here in Portugal. Very important. We don't have those awful plastic corks. I'll be up to Atelier de Dos. I might play you that video as well if we get a chance. Have a great weekend. Bon fin semana to you, and we'll see you again on Monday. Here's the cork video. I'll put the weather link up, and I might even play you a sexy donut video if you stick around for that. Anyway, have a good one. See you Monday. Take care, and bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
With new technologies and new international customers, the Portuguese cork industry reached an all-time sales high of $1.3 billion in 2023. But making all these products depends on healthy, growing forests. Many of the trees Amorim harvests are over 100 years old, now living on less rainfall and warmer temperatures. Since 2023, Amorim has planted 300,000 trees. They plan to plant another 1.5 million in the next 5 years. The company monitors them closely, trying to identify which grow the fastest while resisting disease and drought.
This is how committed we are to our industry, because the payback of this investment will be close to 24 years' time.
Antonio is confident that after surviving world wars, heat waves, and weird smells, his company is well positioned to continue to adapt.
I wonder what's in this box. Atelier de Dos. What's that? A sweet workshop, sweet studio. Okay, let's have a look. Oh my word. Look at that golden goodness. The sunshine on those Bola de Berlin. Each one a different filling, can you believe? Oh, I cannot wait. Bye. Gotta go eat donuts.
blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.